Hey, this is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. Let me tell you a quick story. This is a real story, but I'm going to kind of change some things around. Some of you may have found yourself in in a similar situation, uh, like the story I'm about to tell you right now. I'm not going to mention any names in this story, but I'm just going to tell you what happened, and maybe you might see yourself in this, maybe you don't, maybe you're on the other side of this. Well, one of the I get this type of email a lot from women who had got with a guy. This is going to be a guy, the person of their dreams. They checked all of the boxes. This is the right person for me. This person is motivated. This person is different than all of the other guys that I had dated. We're going to get married. All of this stuff. And then the guy talks them into getting credit cards in their name, talks them into getting a vehicle where they co-sign with them, and personal loans and all of that. But the female is like, hey, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna be in this with you 100%. I'll admit, like with my wife, when we started our business and we, you know, uh, put stuff on layaway, even though it was years ago in 1990, she was still 1,000% behind me. And so, you can't. That's what men. That's what you got to respect. One of the things. There's many things to respect about women, but if a female is 100% behind you, you got to do your side of it. I mean, just point blank, period, point blank. I know I say that a lot, but you got to do your side of it. I always, when I talk to, when I'm counseling couples, and they'll ask me, they'll say, "Hey, I'm going through financial stuff, and my wife and I are arguing, not getting along." First thing I'll say to the man, is I'll be like, "Are you holding up your end of the bargain?" Now, when I say holding up your end of the bargain, that doesn't mean that you're making enough money, because a female will be behind you if you, or to the side. I don't want to get anybody upset. Behind you or to the side or in front of you, whatever it is, they're going to be with you if they see that you're giving it your all, because they know that consistency is going to get us as a couple where we want to be. And you might be on top at some point, and she might be the one that's on top, but y'all got this going together where it's not about who is better than the other person. It's like, we are a real team. And I tell them, like, you got to be very careful, because a female will go off of your actions. You might be thinking you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, but when you look at it, if you look at your actions, you're going to see that you're not doing everything. Because I remember, when I was younger, my wife, before we got married, she asked me straight up, "Are you playing around with being in business, or are you trying to be in business?" And I took that to heart. And so if couples, if you're arguing over money situations, that's that. Now, all the other stuff, you got to work your way through it. But I think that I'm a good example for you, because we're about to be married 35 years, me and my wife. Now, but back to the story. Person finds this person, they're getting all of this debt, but the debt is not a problem, because they are going to make all of this money from this business that they're starting. They're going to be able to make stuff work, or even, let's just say he didn't get a business, that he's just working a job, and that job is going to end up getting where he's going to get more income. Whatever that side of the situation is, the female is going to be 100 with you. And so, but has this happened to you, where all of a sudden the guy is gone, and then you're left with all of the credit card debt, you're left with the car, you're left with any personal loans, you're left with whatever debt was accumulated, you're left with that, and that person is gone. So when I get those types of emails, let me tell you what I tell people to do, because this is real life solutions. The first thing I tell them to do is that I tell them that I feel like I'm not disregarding their feelings. Because no matter what you tell somebody, if you don't tell them that you understand how they could possibly feel, how they could possibly feel, no one's going to know how you feel without being you. But I think that if someone is in the right frame of mind, which I've learned over time when speaking to people, male or female, that you do have to listen and then you tell them the solution that they might want to consider. And I never tell people what to do. Now, one thing that I am specific about, and it's depending on the individual's financial situation, is that I do not try, I don't suggest that they do credit repair. Now, that might sound crazy, but I say maybe you need to look at one of our other services, or you need to look at doing this type of thing yourself. Because if you have all of that debt that's that you're gonna have to take care of, you have to stay focused on that debt, because just trying to get stuff removed off your credit, that's not where I would be pointing. I would be looking straight at what's going on with that debt. Now, let me tell you something that I when I look at these types of situations that I hope happens, some of the time it doesn't, but I hope it happens, is that the debt was in both of the both people's name, the guy and the lady's name. Reason why, because you're gonna have to be upfront. Just like when I go back and forth with those emails, a lot of the women and especially the men, they never really tell you until you go back and forth and you're like, hey, this what you're telling me don't sound right because you seem responsible. So how did this happen? And then all of a sudden, after one or two emails, they'll be like, hey, and they'll write a long email. This is what happened. And I've had it happen with guys too, where they gotta co-sign for a car for a girl, or they or for a lady, or they co-sign or for an apartment, like all crazy, stuff where people do things. I don't want to say crazy. I take that back. Just the things that we do for people because we trust them. So let's just put it that way. And so I tell them, hey, this is what you need to consider. Is you need to look at taking care of that debt first. Now, this is what I hope happens, is that both people sign on that debt, because the collection companies and the creditors, what they're going to do is they're going to always go after the person that they can get a hold of. So we already know that the other person flaked out on you. They're gone, nowhere to be found. Probably don't uh, can't afford to rent or have anything in their name because they've maybe done this already to their own credit. That's why they had to, work with you on it. Is that they're going to be hard to find. So everything's going to come back on you as the person that's easy to find. So first solution, I want to say the first thing that you can look at doing is letting them know what happened and getting everything divided. Like, so say you owe $50,000 is right on in your name with all of that stuff, and you get them to accept that this is what happened to you, even though you can't make it like woe is me. They don't want to hear that. They just want to hear what happened. And then you could say, I want to be responsible for my portion. Let's just cut it down the middle, 25,000. And so you're already 25,000 pushed off to the side. And that should be relief. Like, I've had people do this. We get this a lot with people who get divorced. I've had people do this, and when that cut in half, when they were facing 50, 60, $100,000, and it was just cut in half, it was the creditors, and they just said, hey, we see what happened. We're going to just split it. This is the portion that you're going to be responsible for. Right there. And then from that point, start negotiating settlements at a discount. From that discount, from that initial 50% discount. And it's going to take work to get that, because you got to get them to accept, number one, your story about what happened. And if it really did happen, you wouldn't have any trouble explaining it to them. When I read those emails and they go into detail, if they were to just give that detail to the creditor, yet the creditor is not gonna like let you run off because your boyfriend or girlfriend left you holding the bag. That they don't really care about that. What they care about is that you just didn't try to make these accounts to defraud them. Basically that's what they care about. And then they're gonna make their determination on what they're gonna offer. And then, but at a minimum, you can just say, can we start with my negotiations where we slash my half and then we start negotiating on my half. So if it was 50,000, now you're at 20,000, 25,000, and you start negotiating on that. Maybe you can even negotiate that down to half again if you're going to pay, you know, pay lump sum settlements or even 25%. Just depend. You never know, but that's how you get the door open. What most people do is they just run, they don't do nothing. And I admit that that's the way that we're built. It's like we don't want to face this. We don't even want to know how much we owe, but that is a solution that you can utilize that actually works. Like I'm telling you something that actually works. Now, you might be saying, "Well, Steve, when do we start talking about credit repair with this?" You don't need to talk about credit repair at the beginning. You need to get that taken care of. I guarantee to you that during that process of resolving that debt and getting that either settled for less or maybe you hit the lottery with somebody and they do a 1099-C. You just never know. You might as well put it all out on the table. But your credit is going to already start to improve once those items start to get resolved. And then after that, you come back around and you can start working on repairing your credit. So if you are in a situation where you were, maybe uh, lack of a better word, taken advantage of by your significant other, and this could be for male or female, and you need to figure out a solution to get out of debt, this is a viable option. I've had clients who got divorced this work for. I've had couples that were just single, ended up, sharing an apartment, sharing a house, sharing bank accounts, getting credit cards and all that stuff. And then one of them took off, and they left the other one holding the bag. This solution will work for you. If you have this situation, go to my website on the live chat, and I'm always gonna write back to you with what I think you should do for your situation. And if you qualify to work with us with it, I'll let you know. All right. And if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch video, what makes us different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to my website, the number 3scores.com, to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports, and all three scores. And that monitoring service links up with our software that we use to keep you updated about your credit, so that it'll work perfectly with what we already have in place. Uh, and then if you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation. Those letters can literally stop debt collection early in the game. If they're coming after you, if they bought your debt and they're coming after you. If you have a financial and a financial hardship and a medical hardship, I put together a program to help you potentially get your debt canceled. It's a financial and medical uh, hardship consideration program where you could do this yourself. We have hundreds of people contact us really daily, that I'm serious, daily about this. So I was like, I need to put this into a short, straight to the point course where people can utilize it to get their debt consideration for hardship, and it's to focus on getting a 1099-C and other options that might become available once you let them know your story, and you let them know your story the right way. That's what this whole program is about with that. All right, thank you for your time. Please post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.